China is now claiming that the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is aware of its deal with former President Rodrigo Duterte on the West Philippine Sea, adding that the Marcos government even supposedly agreed to a new model in managing Ayungin Shoal. In a statement, the Chinese embassy in the Philippines says that China has repeatedly briefed President Marcos's administration about the so-called gentleman's agreement, which is contrary to President Marcos's previous statement that he does not know anything about the agreement. The Chinese embassy maintains that China and the Philippines have reached a gentleman's agreement related to the Ayungin Shoal during Duterte's administration. According to the Chinese embassy, the agreement was about managing the situation on the ground to maintain peace and prevent conflicts. The agreement has nothing to do with the respective sovereign positions of the two countries, according to the embassy. The Chinese embassy also claims that Beijing invited a certain envoy of the president to China for special concerns to discuss the management of dispute over Ayungin Shoal in September 2023, which the embassy says resulted in an internal understanding. The details of the supposed meeting are not yet clear. The Chinese embassy also claims that a new model for the management of the Ayungin Shoal was also agreed upon by China and the Philippines early this year after rounds of serious communications with the Philippine military. But the Chinese embassy says that the Philippines unilaterally abandoned this agreement. It is still unclear whether the supposed meeting indeed took place. INQUIRER.net has also sought comments from the palace and the Department of Foreign Affairs regarding China's statements, but it has yet to respond. However, President Marcos has previously denied having any knowledge about the agreement, saying he is horrified even by the mere idea of what he calls a secret deal regarding the Philippine waters. President Marcos said he has tried to get in touch with officials of the Duterte administration who might have been involved in these discussions with China. However, he said that he was given contradicting statements. The Department of Foreign Affairs says the recent trilateral summit of the Philippines, Japan, and the United States should not be deemed as a threat by any peace-loving country. In a statement, the DFA responds to China's remarks criticizing the recent trilateral meeting in Washington, D.C. on April 11. According to the DFA, it is the country's sovereign choice to strengthen alliances with the United States and Japan in accordance with the Philippines' national interests and independent foreign policy. The DFA adds that the Philippines' actions are in line with international law and complement the country's commitments in other regional and multilateral forums. The DFA further says that the trilateral meeting was a cooperative framework to promote peace, stability, and economic prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region. The department adds that the meeting was an admirable aspiration that should not be considered a threat by any peace-loving country. China previously expressed its opposition to the summit, calling it a stalking bloc confrontation in the West Philippine Sea. But the DFA says that it is China's maritime claims and aggressive behavior that undermine the regional peace, stability, and raise tensions in the regions. The DFA maintains that in the case of South China Sea, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and the legally binding 2016 Arbitral Award provide definitive lawful basis for the Philippines' maritime entitlements. The Foreign Affairs Department also slams China for its unwarranted references to the Cold War, which the DFA says only sensationalizes the situation and misrepresents the peaceful purpose of the trilateral cooperation. China had also accused the US of clinging to its Cold War mentality and threatens other countries with its bilateral alliance treaties. The Philippine Coast Guard says it will participate in the annual joint military exercise conducted by the Southeast Asian country and the United States. This is the first time that the Coast Guard will participate in the military exercise. According to PCG spokesperson Rear Admiral Armand Balilo, 4 44-meter multi-role response vessels and 2 larger patrol vessels will be deployed in the exercise, which will commence next week. The PCG regularly deploys these 44-meter multi-role response vessels during the resupply missions in the Ayungin Shoal, as well as the humanitarian missions in Scarborough Shoal, which has become the flashpoint of tensions between Manila and Beijing. More than 16,700 Filipino and American troops will take part in this year's drills. The exercises will be focused in the northern and western parts of the Philippines, which is near the potential flashpoints of the South China Sea and Taiwan. Beijing asserts sovereignty in the entire South China Sea, including most of the West Philippine Sea, even if such a claim has been effectively invalidated by a July 2016 International Tribunal ruling that stemmed from a case filed by Manila in 2013. China's foreign ministry calls the annual war games between the United States and the Philippines a provocation, a charge that the armed forces of the Philippines dismisses. In a press briefing, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian says China urges the Philippines to stop making maritime provocations. However, AFP Public Affairs Chief Colonel Cerces Trinidad says it is the country's prerogative to conduct such drills. Trinidad adds that the annual war games is an integral part of the country's ongoing efforts to develop territorial defense capabilities and to ensure that the armed forces can effectively safeguard the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Philippine Coast Guard will participate in the annual joint military exercise conducted by the Southeast Asian country and the US, which will begin next week. But Lin Jian says the tensions could get worse and the region will become less stable if countries outside the region are brought into the South China Sea to flex muscles and stoke confrontation. He adds that handing over the security to forces outside the region will only lead to a greater insecurity. Beijing asserts sovereignty over the entire South China Sea, including most of the West Philippine Sea, even if such a claim has been effectively invalidated by a July 2016 International Tribunal ruling from a case filed by Manila in 2013. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. orders the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority to give e-bikes and e-trikes, as well as tricycles, a grace period before imposing the rule banning them on national roads. In a post on social media platform X, the President orders the MMDA and local government units in Metro Manila to give a grace period for e-bikes, e-trikes, and other similar vehicles passing along selected roads. The President says that the government needs to give enough time to disseminate the information regarding the ban. However, President Marcos stands by the MMDA's decision to ban e-trikes and specific e-bikes on major thoroughfares. Marcos clarifies that during the grace period, e-bikes, e-trikes, and similar vehicles should not be given tickets nor fined. These vehicles should not be impounded as well. Marcos further says that should e-trike drivers be stopped on the road, they should only be directed towards the correct road and be reminded of the MMDA's new policies. The President has not detailed the timeline of the grace period.